Thank you, Robin. That was a really great introduction. I'm sure you'll agree, and great photos and examples of some of the work we've been doing together to give you a sense of that. I'd like to now ask all of our panel members to come up and join us. We may just need to take a moment to make sure we've got enough chairs, but could you please, you know who you are, come on up. Lasha, Kwame, Delta, Matt, Anidi, Abdul. Come on up. And as I say, I know that there are some CAB members, a couple of CAB members in the audience who won't be up on the stage, but I will, I promise, come to you and ask you to make any comments you would like to as the conversation develops. Thanks. Have we got enough chairs? Got another chair here? I can So we've got, you know, around 40 minutes or so, maybe a bit longer, for our discussion. So we've got 3 key questions that I'm going to be putting to our panel members. If I can ask, because we do have a lot of panel members and I would like to sort of get to questions at some point, if I can ask panel members to keep your answers reasonably succinct, that would be great, because I know you've got a lot to discuss. So if you can help me with that, that would be great. So the first thing, in the context of what Robin has presented, I just wanted to ask each of you to talk a little bit about some of the various harm reduction and drug policy challenges that you're facing in your countries at the moment, to give a bit more context to what Robin means when she says, you know, we're in times of crisis and difficulty and challenge. I know each country has different contexts, so, and then perhaps Anton and Matt, you could talk maybe more at a global level or whatever you choose to do. Who would like to start? I'm very happy for people to, I don't know, do we want to start with, how about Georgia? Why don't we start with Georgia? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can turn that on, yeah.
ლაშავარ საქართველოდან. პირველ რიგში ძალიან დიდი მადლობა ყველა იმ ადამიანს, ვინც მომცა იმის საშუალება, რომ ვიყო ამ კაბის წევრი.
Okay. I'm really happy that I am here and I get a chance to share our experience with you.
საკონსულტაციო საბჭო ეს კაბი ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანია რა ისეთი პატარა ქვეყნისთვის რომ წარმომადგენლები ყავდეს ეს მნიშვნელოვანია და რატომ გეტყვით
So this cab is really important for our community and I'm going to say why.
თემს მოგვეცა იმის საშუალება რომ კონკრეტულად მონაწილეობა მივიღოთ კვლევაში რაც ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანი კვლევაა სწორედ თემისთვის და ვფიქრობ ეს მეტწილად ხარისხზე გავლენას იქონიებს თვითონ კვლევის ხარისხზე.
So it was a great opportunity for the community members that have a chance to be involved in this research.
Ну, ძირითადი სამუშაო კაბის ეს იყო სწორედ, მაგრამ აქ ჩვენთვის საქართველოს წარმომადგენლებისთვის ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანი იყო ის, რომ ქონდა სხვადასხვა ქვეყნის წარმომადგენლებთან ურთიერთობა და მათ გამოცდილებების გაზიარება შეგვეძლო. კი, გავიგე, მაგაზე გადავდივარ.
So it was really important for us to get to know them and to have a relationship with another nations and to gain experience for them. It was, I started from afar away, but I'm getting to the point.
საქართველოს ზიანის შემცირება მიმდინარეობს, დაახლოებით მაგდენივე ხანია თემები მუშაობთ, რომ ეს ყველაფერი გაუმჯობესდეს ხარისხი ზიანის შემცირების და ნარკოპოლიტიკა გახდეს ჰუმანური.
We have been working on harm reduction since like 2010 or 2006, sorry.
სამწუხაროდ ბოლო 2-3 წლის განმავლობაში ჩვენმა სახელმწიფოს მთავრობამ ყოველთვის გადაწყვიტა, რომ ეს ყველაფერი შეცვალოს, გაამკაცროს, ისინი იძახიან, რომ საქართველოში ზიანის შემცირება ვერ იმუშავა.
So these harm reduction services were going smoothly and it was really involving, but our government now decided that they are gonna cut it and they will gonna restrict drug policy.
გულისხმობენ იმას, რომ ჩანაცვლებით თერაპიაში ბენეფიციარები საკმაოდ დიდი რაოდენობით ბენეფიციარებია, დაახლოებით 20,000 ადამიანი არის, 3 მილიონი ქვეყანისთვის ფიქრობ დიდია.
In substitution therapy, we have more than 12,000 people involved. In 3 million people, it's a lot.
რომ ხარდამჭერი თერაპია არ არის სწორედ ჩემი მთავრობის შეხედულებებით და უნდათ რომ ეს ხალხი უყოლა განკურნონ დასვან დეტოქსზე.
So for our government, it's not really a good idea to just support them. They just want to cure them, and we think that that's not the term we are going to use.
სულ ახალი ამბავია, 2 თვის წინ განაცხადეს ეს ამბავი და ხა ველოდებით რომ ყველა ჩვენ უნდა გავკურნოთ თურმე ამას, მაგრამ ამაზე დიდი პრობლემა არ არსებობს. ვფიქრობ და აი აქ მე ყველაზე დიდი იმედი, ვისაც გქონდა კაპში ჩემი კოლეგების, რომ მათგან მიმიღო ხარდამჭერა, რავი, როგორც ცოდნის დონეზე, ასევე გამოცდილების დონეზე და დღესაც ამ პროცესში ვარ, რა სხვა სხვა.
So it has been only 2 months that our government decided to cure us eventually. This is their decision, and we are waiting for them. That's just what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? They are just like cutting it short and not telling us too many information about that because they don't have idea. So Lasha also wanted to add that we have great hope of our CUB members that they will support us. They already supported us with so many ways, and if we if there was a chance that we going to be able to be in a CUB member society, so we're going to be left alone in this world.
So, thank you so much, Lasha. And some of the challenges people are dealing with. Leave. Okay, now it is. Thank you. Yeah, it just gives you a bit of an initial sense of some of the challenges people are dealing with, and that drug policy is a very fluid thing. And Georgia's had harm reduction, as they've said, for quite some time, but now there's significant changes happening at a political level, and they're going to really need support and solidarity around that. I'm going to switch regions for a second. Kwame, I'm going to ask you, would you like to give us some views on some of the challenges in Tanzania at the moment?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Juma Kwame. I am the Vice Chairperson of the Global Community Advisory Board under the Unity Aid Input HCV portfolio, but also I am the Executive Director of Tanzania Network of People Use Drugs. I'm a drug user. I want to talk on the situation in Tanzania. Actually, we faced a great crisis during the US government executive stopping order for the funds, whereby we have seen that some of the PEPFAR programs for harm reduction were actually not removed, but were unstable in one way or another, because mostly of the CSOs working for the community of the people who were using drugs, we were receiving funds from PEPFAR, were being stopped not to operate or to coordinate anything on the ground. So this led to many peer-led community outreach works to be unstable, but mostly it caused a lot of panic to us, the people of community of using drugs in Tanzania, and which resulted is that some of us, we didn't know what will be the way forward, what will be the future of our harm reduction activities. So that was the situation, but mostly in the southern highland regions in Tanzania, where PEPFAR was fully implementing the programs were shut down. And till now, where the recipient of funds was implementing those programs is not functioning. So that is how the situation it is. But in the other areas of the other region where harm reduction activities are being implemented, there was a slow momentum of implementation of those programs. So that is the situation that we face in terms of crisis of the withdrawal of the funds from the US government. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kwame. That's a really good summary. And I think one of the things that Kwame didn't go into because of time, I'm sure, but, you know, Tampa has been doing some incredible advocacy in this space and making really clear strategic advocacy statements to governments and partners around what they call the red lines for community. What are our non-negotiables? What are the things that must continue, and using that in really effective ways to advocate. So thank you for that comment. I'm going to come back to Eastern Europe and Central Asia, Velta, around Ukraine, and Anton, you may wish to follow with some comments, either Ukraine or globally.
Yeah, thank you so much for this possibility to share. About situation with harm reduction in Ukraine, we have a really strong harm reduction program in Ukraine, and I see many best lessons and many examples from other countries, from other continents, but I think Ukrainian harm reduction program is more strong. Maybe because I'm inside this, and I started my also work as activist, as client of harm reduction program. So for me, it's really important. And now we have a war situation in Ukraine, and it's really not easy. Yeah, and I think if we see on the situation the logical way, so we can think that maybe harm reduction programs must stop, but no. In Ukraine, we have increasing of some harm reduction innovators and interventions. For example, we have harm reduction program and needle and syringes site in prison in Ukraine, and I think not many of countries can share this best lesson, yeah, and it is during the war situation. And also we have increasing of number of people who are patients of OIT therapy, yeah, and in districts and regions of Ukraine on occupied territories, for example, yeah, sure, we have stopping of OAT programs, of harm reduction, of other harm reduction programs, but and then if we have peer social workers, they try to continue and share people from their community to support them with harm reduction supplies also. Yeah, so I'm proud to be part of this. And Global Fund also supported our harm reduction program now during these dark times. We have some not so good points. For example, we have some limits of syringes and needles supplies in one hand to people who use drugs. So one man or woman who use drugs can get only 9 times 9 services on 1 year of harm reduction services, and it is not enough for people, yeah, and it is about some algorithm and standard that all people can get same number of syringes, of needles, same number of services. Yeah, and we try to change it because for us harm reduction program it is as only human oriented approach about individuals' needs of different people who use drugs, because we have people who use stimulants, who use opioids, injection, not injection, young people, old people, women, men, and it is about diversity and different needs of different people. Yeah, and I remembered when it wasn't starting because I came when I was 18 in harm reduction program as client, and it was more with more human face, I think. Now we have more services and maybe sometimes more quality of services, but I think we need sometimes go back to basis, to background of our harm reduction programs, and remember that it's about people from first point. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, I think Violta covered Ukraine very well. Originally, I'm Ukrainian. My name is Anton Basenko, and I'm executive director of Input, and of course, it's my honor to speak here as executive director of the global network, the only global network, community-led network of the people who use drugs, and also as the chair of the community advisory board within the UNITAID hepatitis portfolio. But as I said, my peers from the countries, they presenting and will present country agenda very well. But from the global perspective, from Input, I think our specific role is really to properly to listen, to hear our peers from the countries, to collect everything and to accumulate and to help them to work together to produce solutions. What we can do together in this situation, how we can, like, not just following and keeping hands on the situation in country, but when it's coming to the war, or when it's coming to funding cuts, and that's what we saw. That's what Robin touched in her presentation. I think this is a very well working mechanism of this interaction between global country within the community advisory board, which is our strength, I'm sure, and all these examples, like when we hear or when we see that there is a US funding cuts, we proposed, okay, let's do a survey, and actually 10 countries of CAB was our respondents as well, and immediately we collected like more than a little bit more than in a week, or 10 days, we collected the first batch of data, which really helped us to bring this evidence to the advocacy, not just saying, oh, money is cut problem, but here is what is really happening. That's how we saw that from 25% to 100% of, so more than half of organization, community-led organizations, losing from 25% to 100% of their funds. That's how we saw that from the top 5 or top 10 harm reduction services affected by these cuts. The number 1 is peer and outreach work, which is a funding element of the harm reduction work. And if you remove that, in fact, you can stop the full service working. That's how we then, as a step 2, we used it in different advocacy, global advocacy mechanisms. We raised it in CND, Commission on Narcotic Drugs in Vienna, immediately. We used it in a SCG, Strategic Coordination Group, with UN agencies, and also we shared it with the UNITAID within our letter. So I think that is the example how country and global level, how they effectively, and when peers working together, and how this could work really effectively. I would also add something, because now I'm based in Belgium, in Brussels, which is the de facto capital of European Union, and it's a specific, I think, very important location nowadays, especially for my country, Ukraine, for my native country. So of course that's where I'm also bringing where I'm trying to bring this evidence in our learning to the European institutions and member states, to ask them to fully fund global health and to support community-led responses with direct funding streams, etc., etc. So yeah, but I would let other people respond.
Okay. Thank you, Anton. I think that's a really nice intervention to make around highlighting the specific role that input can play within the CAB, not just in terms of Robin's role as coordinator, Anton's role as chair, and all of the secretariat work, but also that really critical role of connecting all of the country-specific experiences and challenges, and then sort of thinking through how to respond to those things at a strategic level globally. So I think that is a really great example, and the work that was presented from Bristol yesterday around the modelling work really is a great example of just what community can contribute when we're supported to do so. I want to come back to the African region. I think that leads me very nicely into Anidi and Abdul. I'd really like you, I know that in Nigeria you're doing some amazing work and really sophisticated strategic advocacy work. Anidi, I'd like to invite you both to talk about any challenges that your country's experiencing. But I also wouldn't mind if you could comment a little bit on just how you work together. Anita, you're in more of a sort of strategic, governance kind of setup role, and then Abdul working with community on the ground. Just how that works and what you're achieving. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Anidia Akpan. I'm working with THU along with Abdul. So basically, in country we have like in many African countries, or in almost all of African countries, we have criminalization of drug use. And of course, we know when drug use is criminalized, the people who use drugs are ultimately criminalized. So the first approach to working with people who use drugs, and also on the project, was to first of all go to governments, which of course we, over time before now, we've had strategic collaborations with. So advocacy was around national and state governments. For the national government, we had to hide behind the Federal Ministry of Health, who also are coordinating the National Technical Working Group on Harm Reduction. So our first port of call was to go to the National Technical Working Group on Harm Reduction and present the idea of the project and talk about the various things we want to do on the project, including distribution of loaded space needle syringe program. And of course, we already had the Global Fund program, so it wasn't really a hard sell, but we had to sell the loaded space syringe and needles, and the fact that we're running this as a research, and it was not going to be in a very large scale, but it was going to be in a scale that tries to answer the questions around if what we are giving in country is sufficient, if it meets the needs of the people who are using it, and also if it's of the right quality. So, and thankfully, I know Dr. Kingsley is here. The National Technical Working Group supported us. We had few questions to respond to. Right? All of that was settled. But also we needed to go deeper and look at other things around the legal angle to all of this. And through the Drug User Network, we had this collaboration with the National Human Rights Commission. We actually signed a formal memorandum of understanding, you know, talking about how do we prevent these violations, how do we prevent police from raiding drug user hotspots where we implement the interventions and cutting away harm reduction materials, needles, syringes, you know, tourniquets and all of that. And yeah, the National Human Rights Commission took that up. We had the agreement, and with funding from the Global Fund, they are working on ensuring that all of that will be something that won't be happening in the near future. But also we had the support of the state government. The state government is it's in the north of Nigeria, a predominantly Muslim state. But yeah, but we had to present arguments, talk about why it's necessary, you know, let's say use the angle of disease model and say, oh, we're trying to see how to reduce HIV, which of course is an empirical strategy. But we are also blessed to have a very cooperative and very amazing person in the Commissioner for Health for Gombe State, who quickly picked up on what we were doing, had a clear understanding of what we were doing, and was very supportive. He intervened with the state governor and, you know, gave us most of the platform, including being involved in what we instituted in the state, which is the Harm Reduction Accountability Committee, where we bring together multi-sectoral stakeholders, including law enforcement, to not kind of report them, but kind of give accounts of what we experience with each of them, when we're implementing. So it's really, and with the state governments behind us, it's made things very easy for us. Also, we've had to do some things too as a community. Abdul will talk more about that, but we've had to, in the process of asking these questions around what is available in the community, how could we encourage uptake and all of that. We've come to find out some of the things we never really knew, so we also think that this work also helped. The values and preferences also helped us to get feedback in a way that we didn't, envisage we would get, because you could be asking questions around one thing, the responses you're going to get might not be suited to what, but when we ask questions specifically about needle and syringes and how they felt about it, we realized that there were other things we needed to do in the community, and that also pushed us to establishing more collaborations. We are right now talking with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to see how we could give a human face to, some of the interventions they have, like drug dependence treatment, counseling. So, and then I'll leave this to Abdul to continue with issues around community.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abdullahi Mokhtar. I am the outreach worker, outreach coordinator also. So in the community, most of our works been as mobilizing the community members to access harm reduction services. And it makes them feel like, they have a platform where they will get the information where to access. In fact, most of their confidentiality will be covered because of we live in a global world that you can access the services and somebody will expose your confidentiality, which is most of our community members don't like it. Even during the FGD, some of them ask us that we have to off our cameras, and we see there is no camera here. They check all the holes that we don't have camera, but within them they feel like we are covering them on camera. Then we have to make them feel comfortable to speak their mind, to speak their choice and preferences. And the community in Gombe is a place whereby community members were being engaged in so many of our community advisory board meeting in the state level. And 12 of them were being part, 12 of the community members were being part of the community advisory board, with 8 from the stakeholders, government and other partners. So in the community, we do some outreaches. We distribute syringes, we make HIV tests, we refer to OSS facility. And for now, we are hoping when we kick up the United project, most of the community members will get access to clean and sterile LDSS syringes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you, Anidi. I think, you'll agree that amazing work being done in Nigeria and incredible progress being made as a result. But I think it really just serves to highlight that, yes, the importance of community mobilisation and creating safe spaces for people to be able to say what they need and want, but also that critical role of sort of strategic and multi-sectorial partnerships to really then bring all of that together and get the change and reform that we most desperately need and are looking for. So thank you for giving those examples. We've got about, just under 15 minutes left of this session, and I know people may want to ask questions, but I am going to prioritise giving some of our other CAB members just a moment to make any interventions from the floor, because there are some other CAB members in the audience. So I'd like to first go to Mohammed and Ahmed are in the audience from Egypt, our CAB members from there. Mohammed, would you like to talk a little bit about some of the harm reduction challenges in Egypt and just the importance of the CAB in progressing some of those issues and addressing some of those issues? Thanks.
السلام عليكم. أنا محمد من مصر، من مستخدمي المخدرات. أعمل في مجال خفض الضرر في كاريتاس وعضو لجنة الكاب. ممتن جدا لأعضاء لجنة الكاب. قبل الانضمام إليهم لم أكن أعلم.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mohammed from one of the people who use substance, and I work in the field of harm reduction in Caritas NGO, and I'm very happy to be here with you and with all the CAB members.
قبل الانضمام إلى لجنة الكاب لم أكن أعرف كثيرا من الخبرات والمهارات بخصوص البلدان الأخرى.
Before joining the CAB, I didn't know much information about the experiences and other harm reduction strategies in the other countries.
ولكني تعلمت منهم كثيرا وتداولنا الخبرات والاقتراحات داخل لجنة الكاب بكل حرية وشفافية.
But I've learned a lot from them, and we exchanged information and experiences with transparency and total freedom.
نجتمع دائما على مدار العام عبر زوم ونتلاقى الخبرات والمهارات، وده بيفيدني كثيرا وبيعود على زمايلي في مجتمعي.
We meet regularly through Zoom, and this also increases my expertise, and this is reflected on the community members and the people who use drugs in my community by the experiences I have from all over the world.
سعيد إن جزء من هذا الحدث العالمي.
I'm very happy that I am a part of this international event.
سأختصر كلمتي في بعض الإيجابيات والسلبيات بما تخص مصر.
Just make it as short as possible regarding the positive advantages and the disadvantages of harm reduction in Egypt.
لكني أحب أن أكون متفائل في هذا الصباح وسأعرض الإيجابيات أولا.
But I'm going to be optimistic this morning, so I'll go on to say the advantages first.
لقد تم إنتاج الميثادون في مصر وهذا أسعدنا كثيرا.
Now methadone is produced in Egypt nationally, and this makes us all happy.
لقد تلقينا بعض التدريبات من مات وكثيرا من زملائنا الرائعون تفيدنا كثيرا في مجتمعنا.
We have received many workshops and many events of training from Matt and from other colleagues that is very beneficial to our community.
في على أرض الواقع شغل من الجمعيات التي أمثلها مثل كاريتاس، فهي جمعية كبيرة وبتفيد جزء كبير من المجتمع في الحد من الضرر.
There's a very huge efforts done from the non-governmental organizations, NGO in Egypt on the ground, like Caritas, the NGO that I'm working in, and it really is reflected in benefits for the community.
بدأنا أخيرا الحكومات عندنا تبتدي تتعامل مع مستخدمي المخدرات بشكل أفضل وبشكل أوعى، وتبقى المساعدة فعالة وتفهم وضع مستخدمي المخدرات في مصر.
And the governments right now are dealing with people who use drugs in a more open-minded way, more understanding way, and they are more understanding towards their needs and what they really want in Egypt.
وكانت أول خطوة بالفعل هي تفعيل بدايل الأفيونات مثل الميثادون. النقطة السلبية بس إن النهاردة بنحاول على قد ما نقدر تطبيق دراسة السرنجات ذات المساحة الضيقة.
And as one of these good things was the reflection of having methadone and OAT in Egypt, but the disadvantages is having problem with the needle syringe program, especially with the LDSS loaded space syringes, and even problems in having this study to get into the light.
ولكننا فعلا نثق في بعض القيادات التي تمثل الأمانة العامة مصر مثل الدكتور محمد ومثل الدكتورة سادي والدكتور محمود إن هم إن شاء الله يقدروا يقنعوا القيادات بتطبيق الدراسة في أسرع وقت.
But we trust people who work in General Secretary of Mental Health and other governmental bodies that can push towards having the study done as soon as possible, like Dr. Muhammad and Dr. Sarah.
ونحن نؤمن بالفعل أن هذه الدراسات للحد من الضرر مثل السرنجات وبدائل الأفيونات كل ده هيعود على مستخدمي المخدرات في مصر بالإيجاب وشكرا لكم جميعا على هذا.
And we believe that this will be reflected positively on people who use drugs in Egypt, and thank you all.
Thank you.
So I just want to acknowledge at this point, I know there's a slightly unusual kind of pace to this session, but you know, we're community and we like to do everything together and give everyone a chance to speak. So to that end, I have two other CAB members that I want to give a quick opportunity to say something if they wish to and about their country context, and then if there's any time, we'll have any quick questions. Petek from Armenia, would you like to make some comment about your involvement in the CAB and what's happening in Armenia in terms of harm reduction? Any developments? You can do it either from the mic or up here, whichever you prefer tomorrow.
Բարև ձեզ, իմ անունը Պետիկ է, ես ապրում եմ Հայաստանում, աշխատում եմ իրական աշխարհ իրական մարդիկ կազմակերպությունում եւ Հայաստանում կատարում ենք բազմաթիվ վնասի նվազեցման ծրագրեր, կխնդրեմ իմ ընկեր Թամարային ինձ թարգմանի։ Շնորհակալություն։
Hello, my name is Petik. I worked in the Real World Real People organization and I'm from Armenia, and currently in the country we are doing a few projects that are aiming on harm reduction.
Հայաստանը նույնպես բացառություն չէ եւ մեր երկրում բացերը նույնպես բազմաթիվ են եւ մենք ամեն ինչ անում ենք որպեսզի մարդիկ ովքեր օգտագործում են թմրանյութեր այդ ստերիլ պայմանները լինի ներարկիչների փոխանակման ծրագրերը աշխատում են շգուտներ ենք բաժանում ինչ որ անհրաժեշտ է
And Armenia is not an exemption, and in the country, unfortunately, we also have several gaps that currently we are trying to fill in. And currently we have several projects focusing on needles and syringe products and even a little workshop to support the community.
Ներարկիչների հետ կապված մեր մոտ խնդիրները միշտ շատ են եղել, բողոքները եւ այս նոր ծրագրերը LDSS ներարկիչների տանում է դեպի լավը, շնորհակալություն դրա համար.
And in the country we always have problems with the quality of the syringes and the needles, and with this program with the LDSS products we can see the improvement that we are very grateful for.
Եվ ինչ տվեց մեզ այս բային Հայաստանում մենք ստացել ենք առաջի պարտիա նալաքսոնը, Հայաստանում մենք նալաքսոնի բացակայություն ունենք եւ այս կարողացանք հասնել նրան, որ արդեն մեր հասանելի է մեզ նալաքսոնը.
And in the country until this we didn't have naloxone, which led to very tragic outcomes, and luckily through all this support and the project we received the first batch of naloxone, and now it's currently available in the community.
Ես արդեն երրորդ տարին է պատիվ ունեմ մասնակցել Նյուիս կոնֆերանսներին, որի համար շատ շնորհակալ եմ։ Ես ձեռք բերեցի բազմաթիվ նոր ընկերներ, նոր կապեր եւ բազմաթիվ նոր մտքեր գողացա մեր երկրի համար։
And aside from that, this is my third time participating at INSHA conference, which I'm very grateful for because it gave me opportunity to meet fellows and people that I make friends with. And this also gave me opportunity to kind of steal some ideas that we will use in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vitek. That's great, and congratulations on the naloxone. That's a really great step forward. Finally, I just want to ask Abu from India, our final CAB member, whether he would like to make an intervention. Thanks.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Abu Mere from Northeast India, representing CAB members over here, and this is my second meeting in THU. I just wanted to make a statement only because our rail project in India has not yet started. So I will not be able to share the experience of the project itself, but what I learned from this conference is that every country has its unique challenges and strength, and they are doing very well, and therefore, to have a successful program in harm reduction and order implementation, the core funding for regional networks and national networks is required. And on top of that, the advocacy in high level is very important, but community mobilization, community empowerment and demand generation for various equipments or medicine or so on. So because in the name of implementation, implementing is not I want or we want. We want quality of services, therefore quality life will be there. It's not just a service. So therefore I just wanted to appeal my peers also to advocate for core funding and for demand. We need to create demand generation. Thank you.
Thank you, I think that's a really great way to end our interventions from our CAB members. Absolutely, I agree with you. And all of this work, I mean, you can see the amazing diverse experiences and country contexts and all of the incredible work that people are doing and just how empowered the community is becoming through this process every step of the way. We have a whole 5 seconds left. Would somebody like... I'm such a great chair, aren't I? Would anyone... If you'd like to stay a moment, would anyone like to ask a question? Do you have a burning question that you'd like to have quickly answered? Okay, Alison, go ahead. Directed to or everyone or whoever you'd like. Yeah.
Congratulations, amazing, and obviously resourced through the Unitaid work, but you can see the spread of the CAB across everything else. My question as a researcher is, how did you get the researchers to cede their power?
So her question as a researcher is, how did we manage to get this community-led research rather than the research led by traditional researchers, academic researchers? How did we get that power from them?
Yes, it's called an advisory board.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Anton, you go.
I think it's finally acknowledged mutual benefit and mutual interest, not just a tokenistic principle of meaningful involvement of communities, but real, truthful, trustful engagement from on every single stage, from the very, very beginning, from the development of the project, development of methodology, discussion of ethical principles, consent forms, whatever. So usually we're all out of them. We are more respondents, beneficiaries, but not participants in the sense. And then of course CAB by itself opened lots of opportunities beyond the research as such. I mean, it's also beneficial for all the team and for including researchers, but not necessarily serving like research purposes of the project itself. Just to say that I have some experience in community advisory boards in the past, but it was mostly CAB purposing like patients and pharma to meet, to address a number of questions. So it's about clinical trials, well, also about involvement of patients in clinical trials or about this, production of the medication. But it's a different thing. We're more like participants, patients, like respondents' place, not the participants of the research itself. And I think this community advisory board really one of its kind and really opened all this variety of additional beneficial things like all that advocacy, capacity building for all the parties of this project. And I think every day working there, we realize more and more how right and correct was this step.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Antonia. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a really layered up sort of process, Alison, with starting with a really baseline commitment that was genuine, particularly from UnitAid, and then few people stepping forward and then layering that up with a community advisory board and then the community researchers and the training, and it just, it's just growing, and as everyone experiences it, all partners experience it, including the community, we see more and more potential in it. So it's not just kind of someone realised, it's been a journey, and it is an ongoing journey. I think we have to finish. I'd love to keep just talking with you all about this, and I'm sure, I hope you've enjoyed the session. It is a really unique opportunity. It's a unique group of people, a unique method and process, and we just hope you all stay with us, keep following our work. We'll keep coming back to present what we've been doing and what we're finding, and this is just all about the community being the producers of knowledge, not just participants along the way or being consulted. So thank you all for coming. Thank you to my panel members who are phenomenal. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.